Coach, talk about coming to Montana State. What are your initial impressions?
Oh, I'm very excited and appreciative for the opportunity Coach Ash gave me. Past 6 years I was at Wyoming, and all I heard about was how great Missoula was, and naturally, me being an underdog, I became a Bobcat fan, and I followed them quite a bit, especially when Coach Ash came here. And I'm just extremely excited for opportunities given me to be part of something that's going to be pretty good here.
How are you going to draw on the experiences, regional kind of Northern Colorado, Wyoming, to impart your knowledge here?
Well, I understand the area. I think growing up in Colorado, then being in Wyoming for 6 years and now in Montana, I understand the area, I understand the people, the weather, and I know what it takes to win on a field in an atmosphere like this.
And talk a little bit about kind of your coaching career, I guess, up until this point, 10 years, 4 at your alma mater, 6 at Wyoming. What are some of your greatest accomplishments by your measures, I guess?
Probably just seeing the kids that I've coached come off the field and be very productive people in the society. I get emails and phone calls and text messages from guys I've coached that my short 10 years, and I know how happy they are that I was part of their life, and how some of the things they learned from me they've taken with them into the private sector that they're in. Besides the wins that I've been a part of at Northern Colorado and at Wyoming, that's probably been my greatest satisfaction.
Sure.
You said that you started to follow Montana State a little bit when you were down in Wyoming. What is your impression of the staff now that you're here and you've gotten a chance to meet a bunch of them?
Oh, everything that I thought from when Coach Ash took over has been confirmed. It's a bunch of guys that I thought we're going on the right track as far as building. You win games with character. You have all the athletic ability in the world, but character right now comes down to the end in that fourth quarter. And what I've seen, they've done a great job on the field with doing that. And when I got here, and seeing how they conduct themselves and how the players are, everything goes hand in hand. They're great people off the field, and on the field it's going to pay off.
Have you got a chance to meet any of the running backs yet? You got a good mix of some old guys and some younger guys.
Yeah, they've come. The ones that are in town have come to see me, and we've talked a little bit and kind of said hi. This is who I am. This is who they are. So I feel once they all get into town and we start practice in August, we'll sit down together and we'll go over how I operate, how I conduct things, how I want things done on the field, and how I expect them to be off the field.
Joe Glenn, obviously a very big part of not only your playing career but your coaching career. Feel a little bit weird to start coaching at a place without Joe?
It is, but it isn't. It's exciting. For the fact that I get to learn something new and something different. Coach Ash has got a great, how do I say it? Oh, I'm lost for words. He's got a great reputation. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of this. Great reputation in AFCA, and it's been exciting part to be a part of that. I mean, his reputation is part of the Board of Regents. Not anybody can be a Board of Regents in the AFCA. And to be coached with someone that is on the Board of Regents is pretty special. You get to learn something new.
And you mentioned the AFCA. I know you're also involved with it yourself as one of the part of that diversity committee, it looked like.
Yes.
Was that where you first met Coach Ash? I mean, was with that AFCA stuff?
That's when I first heard of him. I kind of met him in passing through a mutual friend of ours that's now at Wisconsin. And I don't even know if Coach Ash remembers that, but that was the first time I met him. But when you're on those committees, who's a board of trustees, and I know what it takes to be a true board of trustees. I know what you've done to become one. So it's pretty special to have the head coach be on that board.
You plan on hitting the ground running? What's the schedule like, or do you have a schedule at all?
Yeah, right now it's kind of just get familiarized with the dynamics of everything that goes on, how things are conducted. Every staff is different, every place is different, and then get in the playbook. Really when it's all terminology. Get the terminology. This was red, now it's blue, type stuff. But I'm extremely excited. I think this is a real place to be real close to being very good for a lot of years. You're starting to get the pieces of the puzzle put together, and we'll see what happens come the first game.
How much of that is a draw for you as a coach to go somewhere that's kind of on the cusp? Do you feel like you might be an ingredient that can push them over that barrier?
It's a huge motivator to be part of something like that, because you can kind of come in and say, I helped build that. I was part of that. Obviously, I was not on the ground floor, but close enough that when things do get rolling here and we can win for a long time, it takes a little pride and there's a little excitement to be a part of something like that.
And for you, I mean, being part of that staff that didn't make it at Wyoming, I mean, just kind of being in flux. Talk about the period for you, kind of between, when you got when you were off in Wyoming and when you got on here. Just kind of what you went through to kind of try and land a spot for yourself.
A lot of ups and downs. You learn. Football taught me a lot. Taught me how to get back up. And that was probably football right now. Teach me another lesson. You got to get back up as a player. Now you got to stand back up as a coach if this is something that you really want to do. It taught me a lot of things about the ups and downs of the business side of it. It's a great profession, but the business side of it can be very rough. And I talked to my wife one day, and we're talking about going over some things, and we kind of came to the conclusion that life's full of peaks and valleys, and how you climb out of those valleys determines how high you peak. And that's probably the biggest thing I learned. If you want to continue coaching, you want to continue doing anything in life, nothing's going to be easy. You're going to get knocked back down. Football taught me to stand back up and persevere. So.
And one of the things that I looked at with that Wyoming roster was Devin Moore and Wynell, Selden. That's right. The two guys that I see similarly on the Bobcats are kind of a smaller back and a Ricky Evans and a bigger back and C.J. Palmer. Two young guys that you're going to get a chance to work with. Do you see some similarities there between?
Yeah, I did. Well, film I watched them this morning. They're very similar in style to Wynell and Devin. Two people are never the same.
Right.
Running styles are very similar. CJ's a banger and a bruiser with some speed, and Ricky's got some shake, make you miss in the phone booth if you let him. So they're similar in that aspect. The thing that they both need to learn that Saturdays are just a reflection of the work you put in during the week. And I think with young backs, they think they can just go out and do that right away. Once they learn to practice, because Wynell and Devin were some serious practice football players. They took practice just as serious as Saturdays. And I think once young guys can learn to do that, they'll start seeing a lot of success on Saturdays.
Going to be down in Greeley here this season. Going to be a little weird going back.
I thought about that. I thought about that. It was game 3. I got a circle. It's going to be different, but I'll be wearing a different color, blue and gold, and I'll go down there and I'll coach best that I can, and hopefully we can walk away with the victory. It's going to be a little different. The only time I was on that side of the sideline was on Friday, hat day, sitting out trying to get out of the sun. So it'll be different, but it'll be exciting, very exciting.